It was springtime on the island of Sodor. The bank holidays were approaching, and the children from the schools were to compete against children from Barrow in a friendly football tournament at Great Waterton. Stanley was to collect the children from Barrow, Percy was to take the children from Sodor, and Thomas was to collect everyone who would be watching the big game. Everyone was very busy indeed. Percy and Stanley were waiting in the sidings for Thomas to arrive with the passengers who would watch the game. Thomas soon pulled into Great Waterton station, and as his passengers disembarked to the football field, Thomas chuffed to the sidings with Annie and Clarabelle. Percy and Stanley were pleased to see him.
"What took you so long, Thomas?"
Percy asked.
All of these passengers are looking forward to the big game, Percy. I had to make a lot of stops on the way here."
"Well, it's a good thing you made it," added Stanley. "Otherwise, they'd miss the games by the time you got here." Thomas knew that Stanley was teasing him, and he chuckled as he backed into the sidings to watch the football tournament. The engines were enjoying themselves as they watched the tournament. The second game had just begun.
"I wonder if Team Sodor is going to win the tournament,"
wondered Thomas. Then there was trouble. The goalie for Team Barrow had kicked the football, which flew high into the sky towards the engines, when suddenly it landed in one of Henry's trucks, just as he passed by with a goods train. "Stop!" yelled the referee, but Henry didn't hear. "Our one and only ball! Now we can't continue the game!"
"Don't worry," said Thomas. "I'll chase after Henry and get your ball back."
The children cheered as Thomas raced after Henry to get the football back. Henry wasn't going very fast, but Thomas was having a difficult time catching up to him. "Easy, Thomas," said his driver. "We'll get that ball back."
"We'll get that ball back! We'll get that ball back!"
echoed Annie and Clarabelle.
"We're catching up to Henry!"
said Thomas excitedly, but just as he was getting closer, Thomas's signal went red.
"Bother! I was this close to getting that ball back."
"Don't worry, Thomas," said the driver. "We'll catch up to Henry." As soon as the signal went green, Thomas set off once more. Thomas was quickly gathering speed. He hadn't gone this fast in a long time. As Thomas approached Kelsthorpe Road, he called out,
"Henry! Henry!"
But Henry didn't hear. He was making good time on the main line, and Thomas was just about to catch up to him once more. But suddenly, the signalman had set the points to send Thomas along the branch line towards Kirk Ronan.
"Oh no!"
cried Thomas.
"I'll never catch up to Henry now."
Thomas grew crosser and crosser. Now the children wouldn't be able to continue their tournament. It was no good at all. "Never mind. It'll be a while for Henry to reach Kildane, so if we back up onto the main line, we can try and make up for lost time." Thomas felt better after hearing this, and he backed onto the main line, determined to get the ball back. Henry had to stop at Kildane to set down trucks on his train. He was just about to leave the station when suddenly he heard a whistle.
"Wait, Henry! Stop!"
It was Thomas, who had finally caught up to Henry, tired but triumphant.
"We need a football back,"
said Thomas, and explained everything. Henry's fireman found the football in one of Henry's trucks and handed it back to Thomas's driver. "We're sorry about the football," said Henry. "You'd best get back to Great Waterton now, Thomas. The children are waiting."
"That's okay, Henry,"
replied Thomas. But then, Thomas's driver noticed that Thomas's water tanks were empty. Now Thomas wouldn't be able to return the football. Henry could see Thomas's predicament, so he kindly offered to shunt Thomas to the water tower to fill up with water.
"Thank you, Henry,"
said Thomas. "It's my pleasure, Thomas," came the reply. "I couldn't leave you here without any water." Thomas felt very pleased to have a good friend like Henry, and he soon made his way back to Great Waterton. At the end of the day, the football tournament was a success, and everyone came to see Thomas to thank him for saving the football. 3 cheers for Thomas! They all cheered, and Stanley and Percy joined in and blew their whistles to cheer for Thomas. Thomas just smiled happily for being a really useful engine.